EI hit it! Ooh, this system took gaming over the edge. Another part of my gaming history, the PlayStation 2 isn't just a game console, but it was family in our household. Released in North America on October 26, 2000, and unfortunately discontinued in January 4th, 2013, the PlayStation 2 went on to become the best-selling video game console in history, selling over 155 million units. Think about that for a second. 3,870 game titles have been released for the PlayStation 2 since launch, and more than 1.5 billion copies have been sold. So without further ado, I put those 3,800 or so games into a top 10 list. This was probably the hardest freaking thing to do, so here's MavAttack's top 10 PlayStation 2 games in no particular order. Enjoy.
Beyond Good and Evil.
An action-adventure game developed and published by Ubisoft, Beyond Good and Evil stars you as Jade, an investigative reporter and martial artist who works with a resistance movement to reveal a planet-wide alien conspiracy. You solve puzzles, fight enemies, and take photos of creatures and enemies in exchange for that currency and info about the area. Beyond Good and Evil was a commercial failure, an utter failure, but was widely known to gamers to be one of the best games. We still to this day patiently await that sequel. Where the heck is it, man? Come on!
Silent Hill 2.
Not this again. It's a nightmare. Ooh. Gamers widely will agree that Silent Hill 2 is the best Silent Hill game in the series. It isn't a direct sequel to Harry Mason's story from the first Silent Hill game, but it stars James Sunderland, who enters the town of Silent Hill after receiving a letter written by his deceased wife, saying she is waiting for him in their special place. Silent Hill 2 has a greater emphasis on finding items and solving riddles than actual combat. If you're a horror fan or just a Silent Hill fan, you'll understand why this is one of the best games on the PlayStation 2. Get out of here.
Kingdom Hearts series.
Kingdom Hearts is a crossover role-playing game series that takes characters from Square Enix and Disney Interactive Studios. The series stars Sora and his search for his friends while encountering Disney, Final Fantasy, and The World Ends With You characters in their own respective worlds. Kingdom Hearts has reached wide success. It is indeed one of the best series on the PlayStation 2. My time with Kingdom Hearts was brief, and only recently have I been made a believer. So now, I have officially jumped on the hype train of Kingdom Hearts 3, cause me and Goofy, we out here grinding, you know what I'm saying? You did. Killing Goofy?
Okami.
Okami translates to Great God, Great Spirit, or Wolf, and is an action-adventure game that stars you as the Shinto sun goddess who protects the land from darkness, disguised as a white wolf. It's a cel-shaded visual style mixed with a beautiful art aesthetic. I featured this on my top 10 best cel-shaded games of all time list, and for good reason. It's an amazing experience that can only be explained by simply playing it. The more you know.
Shadow of the Colossus.
Okay, before I start, let me just say that Shadow of the Colossus is absolutely legendary. I just can't get over how good the game design is. You star as a boy named Wander who must travel a vast land on horseback and defeat 16 massive colossi in order to restore the life of a girl named Mono. It's a touching story of the lengths a boy will go just to save the girl that he wants. It's got a puzzle adventure vibe to it, as once you find the colossi, you need to figure out its weaknesses as you climb up them and attack them as they move around the large areas of land. Shadow of the Colossus is considered to be a prequel to the amazing adventure game Ico, which fought with Shadow of Colossus to be on this list right now, but ultimately Shadow of the Colossus was a better game in my opinion. Now we just wait patiently for that last Guardian, you know what I'm saying? What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of MavAttack. In this episode, we patiently wait for The Last Guardian to be released. I've waited for so long.
Grand Theft Auto series.
With this category, we look at the GTA series, not an individual game. Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I couldn't just put one of these on this freaking list. It was damn near impossible. GTA San Andreas was the best GTA game still to this day in my own opinion, and GTA 3 was revolutionary and shattered worlds, but Vice City is actually my own personal favorite Grand Theft Auto for obvious reasons. But they all had a special charm which takes me back to the PS2 era and complements the system. Clyde, Tommy Vercetti, and Carl Johnson were all great protagonists with great stories, and they all started the open world video game revolution. Dancing in the club with the village people, and being invited inside for some hot coffee. Grand Theft Auto is one of the best video game series in the history of video games.
Metal Gear Solid 3.
Not for honor, but for you. Snake Eater.
This game was my favorite Metal Gear Solid game ever. Not only was the soundtrack absolutely extravagant, but the graphics, the mechanics, the gameplay, and most importantly, the story, all made this game the epitome of stealth espionage action games. Set in the Cold War era Soviet Union, the story centers on Fox operative Naked Snake as he attempts to rescue a weapons designer, sabotage an experimental superweapon, and assassinate his defected former boss. The Snake Eater is set in a 1960s jungle setting where you can hunt animals, treat injuries, use the specifically named CQC for the first time. The biggest highlight is the camouflage and stealth system, being able to hide in tall grass, climb up trees, blend in with rocks and logs. Snake Eater took the Metal Gear Solid game over the edge. This specific Metal Gear is a direct prequel to the next adaptation of the series titled Metal Gear Solid 5 in the Metal Gear timeline. Play this game if you have not and you plan on getting Metal Gear Solid 5.
God of War series.
Kratos is, in my opinion, the most badass protagonist in a video game series ever. Starting as a simple Spartan warrior, Kratos is about to be killed when he calls upon the god of war Ares to save his life, and in return, Kratos is forced to do Ares' dirty work for him. In the process, Kratos kills his wife and daughter, and this is where Kratos' path of vengeance and revenge ultimately begins. God of War is a hack-and-slash adventure game set in Greek mythological times where gods and beings in the Greek myth come together. It's a bloody good time, literally. From upgrades to raw combat and the amazing storyline, the God of War series is one of the best of all freaking time. Aside from those pesky QuickTime events, of course.
Final Fantasy X.
Set in the fantasy world of Spira, the game's story revolves around a group of adventurers and their quest to defeat a rampaging monster known as Sin. You star as Titus, a blitzball star who finds himself in Spira after his home city of Zanarkand is destroyed by the evil Sin. Shortly after arriving at Spira, Titus joins the summoner Yuna on her quest to destroy Sin. Featuring voice acting allowing you to explore in the third-person perspective, many mini-games, and intense battles, this is the best Final Fantasy game on the PlayStation 2, period. Yo, y'all ever play blitzball? Floating around, throwing balls in the water, I almost fell over.
Resident Evil 4.
Aside from this annoying little shit, Ashley, this is the last great Resident Evil game before the series went more action-oriented rather than survival horror. I feel as though it mixed both the survival horror genre and the action perfectly in Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 follows Special Agent Leon S. Kennedy, who is sent on a mission to rescue Ashley Graham, the United States President's daughter who had been kidnapped by a sinister cult. Traveling to a remote town in Europe, Leon fights hordes of violent villagers and mutated monsters, and finally reunites with the mysterious spy Ada Wong, if y'all remember her. This is survival horror at its best. I mean, do y'all remember these damn things? I'd be like, no, I'm good. Alright, so I wish you guys could understand just how difficult this list was. Look up on the internet a list of PlayStation 2 games. It is nearly impossible to create a top 10 list and be content with it. So here is my long list of honorable mentions, either in with gameplay, story, or just simply because I love the game. So without further ado, here you guys go. Def Jam Fight for New York, Manhunt, The Warriors, The Getaway, Killzone, Red Faction 2, Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, Dragon Quest 8, Jak and Daxter series, the Ratchet and Clank series, the Sly Cooper series, and finally, Rockstar's own Bully. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of MavAttack. I really appreciate your guys' continued support. And if you could help the Mav movement out by sharing this with at least one friend, get one friend to join us Mavericks, it would mean all the difference. It would mean everything to me personally. And also, if you could leave a comment down below and let me know what your favorite PlayStation 2 games are, because like I said, there's over 3,000 PlayStation 2 games that I know some of you guys didn't even see on this list that you're like, well, that wasn't on the list. Let me know what your favorites were down below in the comments, and I want you all to stay rad, and I will see you all on the next episode of MavAttack.